If you're thinking about selling your house, you may have some serious questions, and there's no denying that mortgage rates are having a big impact on today's housing market here in the Seattle area. And that may leave you with some questions about whether it still makes sense to sell your house and make a move. Here are 3 of the top questions you may be asking and the data that helps answer them. Question number 1, should I wait to sell my house until interest rates are down or go ahead and do it now? If you're thinking about waiting to sell until lower interest rates come our way, here's what you need to know. There are a ton of other people waiting. And while mortgage rates are still forecasted to come down later this year, if you wait for that to happen, you may be dealing with a lot more competition as other buyers and sellers jump back into the market. As Bright MLS says, even a modest drop in interest rates will bring both more buyers and more sellers into the market. That means if you wait it out, you'll have to deal with things like prices rising faster and more multiple offer scenarios when you buy your home. So if you're thinking of selling and buying, that could be a disadvantage. If you just want to sell, that could be a plus. Number 2, you may be wondering, are buyers still out there given our higher interest rate environment? Yes, here in Seattle, there are a lot of buyers still out, and it doesn't mean that no one is moving right now. Well, sure, some people might be holding it off and wishing that they were buying 10 years ago with lower prices and lower interest rates. Most people that are buying a home are trying to do so because they have a job or a baby, or they're getting married, or they're 35, or whatever the thing is. That's their threshold for making them want to move forward with their life into a home. So there are a lot of buyers certainly in the marketplace right now. But here's the data to prove it from Showing Time. Showing Time is the app that does showings for properties, and it's a measure of how frequently buyers are touring homes. So the graph below uses the index data to show the buyer activity for the last available month, which was March in 2024. And you can see that demand has dipped some since the unicorn years, which was when interest rates were extremely low. And that's in response to a lot of market factors. Obviously, higher mortgage rates are one of them. Prices are up as well, and there's very limited inventory. But to really understand today's market, you have to compare where we are now with the last normal years in the market pre-pandemic, so 2018, 2019. Not those kind of abnormal years. So when you focus on just the blue bars here in this graphic, you can get an idea of how 2024 stacks up. And that gives you a whole new perspective. Nationally, demand is still very high compared to the last normal years in the housing market. And that means there's still a market for you to sell your house. Now that's all well and good. Let's say you sell your house, there's lots of buyers out there, and the question you might be asking is, can I afford to buy my next home? And if you're worried about how you'll afford your next move with today's rates and prices, consider this. You probably have more equity in your current home than you realize. Homeowners have gained record amounts of equity over the past few years, and that equity can make a big difference when you buy your next home. You may even have enough to be an all-cash buyer and avoid taking out a mortgage altogether. As Jessica Lautz, the Deputy Chief Economist at the National Association of Realtors, says, those who have earned housing equity through home price appreciation are the current winners in today's housing market. 1/3 of recent home buyers did not finance their home purchase in the last month. That means they bought it all cash, and that's the highest share in a decade who's done that. For these buyers, interest rates may be less influential in their purchase decisions. So the bottom line here is, if you've had these 3 questions on your mind, they've been holding you back from selling your home and making that plan to buy a next one, hopefully it helps to have this information now. A recent survey from Realtor.com shows that more than 85% of potential sellers have been considering selling for over a year. That means there are a number of sellers like you who are just kind of sitting on the fence and getting comfortable there. But that same survey also talked about sellers who recently decided to take the plunge and list their homes for sale, and 79% of those wish that they had sold sooner. If you want to talk more about these questions, buying and selling your home and the transition involved, feel free to connect with me on my website, homeproassociates.com, or here in the comments. And until then, I'll see you on the next video.